Thank you very much indeed, Tim. We are, of course, going to jump into Chalet for the first time. Feels nice to be able to say that. As we have FaZe Clan versus Team One. Bans already flooding in as well. Thatcher Nomad being removed. FaZe not wasting any time on their second. Is it going to be the Mirror or the Valkyrie? It's going to be the Valkyrie coming on. I'd be surprised here, Gio, if a Mirror gets let through.
I mean, I will be as well. Okay, Goyo. Hey, we've already had the Goyo controversy conversation today. Are you feeling just as irked about it as you were in our first game?
I'm maybe a bit irked at the Mirror, honestly.
Yeah, that's
I think that Mirror window is going to be potentially slightly problem. But you know, what do we know? We maybe not even see the Mirror played. We're going to Bar as the first site, so maybe not the must pick, not like you would expect downstairs or maybe even upstairs in Master Bedroom, but quite an aggressive lineup there for Team One. Ooh, and it gets even more aggressive. Who's read into who there, Gio? Because we've had a Cade baited and then 6 picked out of, sorry. And then we've had a Monty baited and then 6 picked over onto a Jackal.
I think that actually FaZe Clan have probably read into that the best, purely because the rest of the lineup for Team One is very roam heavy, right? You know, look at those operators, Jaeger, Alibi, Wamai, and Malusi. There's gonna be people off site here. They know that. So they might as well get a 1-up in where those flanks are gonna be coming from. Especially when you have to remember that this is, we have 3 main staircases now, and there are a lot of opportunities for flanks as a direct result. Nomad is banned, you can't use her for flank control. They're not bringing a gridlock, and they've got 1 Claymore. So I think being able to have that kind of information when you know there's going to be multiple roamers really, really helps. And the fact that there are multiple roamers means that the most Team One could have 6-picked is 1 away from them. So that threat wasn't going to go away. So I think picking the Jackal, probably quite a good shout.
Always love a Jackal pick, because especially with a map that is the size of Chalet, always an opportunity to get yourself on in and to find out where a roamer has been, as of course players on Chalet do like to make use of all those intricate rooms. There's a heck of a lot of rooms in this map if you look at it from a top-down view. Loads of nooks and crannies and corners to try and hide on in. Vertical pressure, as ever, going to be important to control. FaZe have really opted for a full clear of this north side, and we can see the drones working down below them as well. Cyber is going to make short use of a lot of this soft destruction, so he is going to get challenged somewhat from the library side.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't blame them for wanting to do a really thorough clear, just because this map is so large. It's so much more likely that Team One will be able to get away with having their defenders move around freely. You need to ensure that they are either being brought down or at the very least being pushed away and down towards the site where you can deal with them all together. Doing okay for time for now. We're about halfway through. There are many members of FaZe Clan who still aren't in the building, and there's still utility to be cleared. For example, that shield behind which we just saw a player get yellow pinged. There is a nade which not gotten rid of it, but it has of course gotten rid of the barbed wire. Prisma has been alerted, so that means that that location of the player is going to be known. Another nade going in, but it just gets lapped up by a Wamai disc, followed up by a second one, and FaZe Clan are going to have to start making this swift.
Yeah, FaZe are coming up against quite a lot of obstacles now, as we're even seeing frost mats being used and getting caught out on in. Obviously a lot of windows here on Chalet and a lot of little hop throughs that you've got to try and achieve. Time is running short, and so is man count, as kills come through for KDS and Levy, as Levy is on these library stairs, and it looks as though he's tasting a second one out, but Alamo comes in with the C4. It was only ever going to be a matter of time in that round, as Team One saw a lion's share of the kills nice and early, without many trades coming back in response from FaZe.
It just felt like there was a ton of utility all across the map there. And I think one of the things that potentially really hurt them is the fact that they didn't bring a Zafir. Cyber, who oftentimes plays entry, was on Sledge. And because you had the Jackal, that was kind of taking up a spot that maybe you could have had the Zafir on. So in terms of the utility that you had to get rid of things, you had the nades from the Maverick and the Sledge, but we saw one of them get eaten up. We saw the nades not necessarily getting rid of everything, and when you want to be getting rid of things like Malusi Banshees that were lying around as well, and Frost Mats that weren't being spotted out, there was just, I think they just got out-utilitied more than kind of out-roamed.
Team 1 taking us upstairs now to Master Bedroom. They've had a very favourable start for them here against FaZe. FaZe, it seems, have maybe been fooled into thinking they were going downstairs, judging off that lineup. There's a lot of hard destruction in there. There is, of course, option to use some of that hard destruction attacking onto this site. And the smokes and the grenades always do come in handy, but does make things a little bit difficult when you start thinking toward vertical pressure. We're only going to have Bullet and Cameraman that are really effectively going to be able to apply any sort of that vertical pressure, either Cameraman with the secondary shotgun or Bullet potentially with the Ash breaching launcher. Seems for now as though players are just going to get themselves established on rappel and see if they can gather any intel. Got a mute on track, but that's unlikely to mean all too much, as we have actually got Cyber in downstairs. He's looking to try and pressure in the opposite direction.
FaZe are going to have a lot of map control here, because your options really for being able to open the breach onto office are either you use the Maverick to get rid of the mute jammers, in which case you need to ensure that library is clear, or you do it from down below. You can already see ace charges being used and Alamau getting the first kill onto Cyber. That's that really crucial entry player that we've spoken about before, despite the fact that he's playing here on the Sledge. Alamau nearly killing one of his teammates. We won't talk about that. But it means that they are together here down in the basement. They also have the company of Neskin as well.
I do fear that they're leaving the site relatively light at this moment in time, as they enter the halfway point and they're looking to try and maybe make their way back upstairs. They've only got a couple of C4s between them, and it doesn't seem like a great deal to start trying to retake with. I'm wondering if FaZe have read on into this as they start to pick up kills as those players decide to rotate on back through. FaZe look to be lacking a little bit of information there as Toxic Babe canisters come out from Levy, as he's almost breathed his last breath himself. Loads of smoke grenades get tossed on in as it looks as though FaZe are trying to make a move. Lagonis trying to hold fort best he can. Levy still got a couple of Toxic Babes in his pocket, but doesn't want to use them just yet. Souls finds an important kill there over onto Lagonis, and Alamo left with his C4 trying to make something happen. Goes for a toss, but misses out completely as pre-fire shots still continue to rain on through. Astro does have the diffuser in his hand and may be able to get himself in a position to plant it, as it looks as though Team 1 are really running out of things to stop that happening with, and there's still 45 seconds left to go. Astro, he is going to try and confirm that, but Neskin gets a cheeky run out over onto Cameraman. This is all but going to be confirmed as we enter a 3 versus 3 in a post plan.
And it seemed to be kind of difficult for Team 1 here as well, because FaZe Clan gained that north side control pretty early. We saw those players head into Solarium. No one really wanting to push on forward. Alman was the first one to do so, but gets taken down immediately. And now in the 1 versus 1, it's Neskin versus Souls, looking for his opponent, but Souls gets the advantage in that one. FaZe Clan, they didn't manage to make the first round work, but they've taken the second quite cleanly.
I think a very good read from FaZe Clan. I think they really read into those players on the side of Team 1 being off-site and downstairs in the basement and just took full advantage of it. We saw those players really struggling to get back up into sight, with the exception of Alamo, who did manage to get himself up there and give his C4 a toss, but it didn't really work out all too well for them. Now it seems as though we're going to go downstairs to the garage finally. So I think this is a site that FaZe have been expecting for some time. We're going to see a Warden 6th picked onto there from a Kaid. So nothing really in terms of denying that wall aside from a handful of mute jammers.
Well, it was only the mute jammers that were being brought for denial last time as well, and that didn't really seem to stop FaZe all that much. Again, Team 1 leaning into the roam, which was going to make it harder to gain control of the hatches above the site for FaZe. There are obviously multiple different ways of attacking onto this site. You can go for the... I always want to call it the garage door, but technically it's the snowmobile door, because garage is elsewhere. You can also come in through trench. So I'm interested to see how it is FaZe are looking to apply the pressure. And how successful their clear is as well. I think a lot of the reason why they found success on that last round is because they didn't do a super thorough clear, but they didn't need to. They decided that they were coming in through the north side, and a lot of the roamers were down in the basement looking to get a flank. But you got players in Solarium and they're watching that one staircase. It's actually not too hard because all of the defending players are on one side of you. They're not covering multiple angles. But this could be a site where they find that maybe a bit harder.
FaZe once again going for that typical full map clear that we're regularly seeing in these rounds. Can't really leave anything to chance, especially when you've got operators like Vigil out there, because they are just going to try and evade some drones. And Eskin, I think that Mozzie has been a staple pick for Team 1 in this fixture so far, and it just goes to show the value placed on those drones for the attackers. And look, they've only got 6 left. Losing out on quite a few, but someone else is losing is Neskin as he loses his life. Astro finds a beautiful headshot from long range over on old K9 balcony. And that's just going to open things up quite nicely. It may even force KDS to make a bit of a rotation back on into the site.
That thorough droning that we've been looking for again. They know that the Vigil is around downstairs near the bar, but it'll be Levy to get the next kill, and that's onto Astro. Really key player that we've spoken about before for FaZe Clan, and notably, he is their primary hard breacher in this round. So those Selmas aren't going to be available. You can tell that he's already used one on the snowmobile door. Levy just taking some safety behind this cabinet thing. So that he's got some impunity from anyone who may be outside. And you've still got a lot of shield standing so that many of these on-site defenders do have that safety.
I don't think that Team 1 are too worried at this moment in time. They look fairly happy in the positions that they're holding. We're not seeing defenders shuffling around and trying to get themselves into better spots. It seems as though they're relatively comfortable. With 40 seconds left to go, that's an ideal position to be in because it's only going to get more uncomfortable from here on out. Bullet manages to get rid of the Banshee there and looks to try and peek onto the wall. Pre-fire shots do go out, but struggling really to make anything land. It's going to be a kill or be killed situation as he pushes himself down that blue and just quickly checks the corner, but it's going to cost him his life. KDS comes out the victor in that engagement, and the kills are all coming up Team 1 at the moment as Soul also falls. Cyber really looking to make an impact there from the main stairs along with Cameraman. 2 players pushing the same direction. They find 2, but time is running short. They go to try and smoke and get a plant off, but it isn't going to happen. Lagonis picks up that final kill, and Team 1 are looking pretty good here down in Garage.
Really difficult push there for FaZe Clan. I think the fact that they managed to get Snowmobile open, but not have any really good ways of applying pressure from another direction didn't help that much. I didn't see much attention be paid to West Main, and then you saw the players try and come down the main stairs at the end, and it's still a really narrow avenue of ingress. It's the same way why any kind of choke point is super dangerous for attackers, and that's why you look for breaches in the first place, because they open up and mitigate that risk of having to use choke points. You have a lot more space and a lot more control to go with, and they simply didn't have it that time. Coming down blue, coming down main stairs, it just is those really thin, narrow routes because you don't have much other option.
I'd like to see more impact being brought on the side of FaZe, and what I mean by that is, you know, maybe a Ying or maybe a Monty or maybe something just to give them a bit of a beachhead to work from. A Capitao would do quite a good job as well. Because I feel like once you've gotten the breach open, your focus really ought to be get the plant down. And that just didn't seem like it was the case. They were applying pressure from everywhere else, but everywhere apart from that breach in the dying few moments. If you're going to get it open, you've got to try and use it. And if that's going to be in conjunction with getting trench open as well, then brilliant. But if not, you need some sort of beachhead to try and work off. And that's what they were really struggling for in that round in particular. But we move. It is only, of course, one round. And they get an opportunity now to attack elsewhere, back into the bar site.
This was a site that FaZe Clan failed to successfully attack back in round 1. This time they're doing something a little bit different, as they've brought the Jackal, which they did bring again in round 2, but also the Amaru as well, which suggests to me that they're going to want to do something a bit more quick-paced. Last time Cyber was on Sledge, and he was opening up a lot of these soft walls upstairs, but a lot of the progress that FaZe made upstairs was incredibly slow, and they still didn't manage to clear out everything they needed. They were very overwhelmed with utility, never really managed to get it all open, so I'm wondering how this change is going to benefit them.
Astro already getting himself established and looking to put his Selmas to good use, flooding a bit of utility through as well. Beautiful use there to burn any sort of ADS or disc if it was there, and of course ensure that his second Selma hits the mark too. Nice quick fire breaching. Cameraman going to find some footprints as ever, and Cyber in quite a weird spot for the Amaru. They have moved quickly in some regards, but in others they've been relatively steady. But the G8 is always a fantastic weapon. Not that he's going to need it, because Astro, he's going to be the player that goes huge. AK-12 instead is going to do a lion's share of the work down there, picking up 2. Levy feeling quite exposed, no doubt, on the site, as the shots do continue to rain on in. Not even too sure exactly where that was from, and I think he's potentially questioning it a little bit as well. Maybe a nade to see him gone here, as he's going to use his down but not out state to gather a little bit of intel for the remaining players on his team. KDS, he's gifted a freebie. His cameraman carelessly walks all the way on through the site. Neskin finds another, and this is still a round for Team 1 to lose here. Souls, he's looking to try and put the pressure on and confirm that diffuser, and the kills continue to come for FaZe. It really is now all down to KDS. He made a lot happen from the hatch, but he has to move off that lofty height if he wants to try and continue this round and pull it back for his team. He finds one, Cyber's down, he's got the intel, goes for the swing, but Souls is holding the head glitch on the sofa.
That would have actually been really good if he'd had the information on where Souls was, because he did get the yellow ping on the third player as well and could potentially have won out that clutch. I think, part of me was kind of concerned when they had, he had that angle in through the hatch, and I was wondering if maybe that would be the downfall of FaZe, and once again see the fact that them not getting the full clear upstairs would have been detrimental. But at the end of the day, FaZe did a similar thing to what we saw worked for them in round 2, and that was when they kind of encroached upon the site together in a group. They were not all split up. There wasn't this kind of separation where they could be picked off, and it meant that as they methodically brought down each player who was in their way, it gave them a lot more space. And then they spread out at the end, as you would expect to see in a post-plant situation. So, disappointing there for Team 1. It does mean that we are on an even round count for now. And despite the fact that we keep talking about how FaZe is just this powerhouse that's come into Brazil, and this new roster is amazing, and everything that they've achieved, and Team 1, despite being that chocolate box team that we spoke about, it's still good chocolates. Like, none of them are the one that you don't want. Right? None of them are the coconut one or the mint one. Or you know the rubbishy ones that you just don't want. They're all like, they're the truffle and the orange honeycomb.
I'd take a coconut or a mint chocolate.
Are you nuts?
No, I don't like the nuts ones.
Oh, God. Alright, well, my analogy is swiftly falling apart, but the point that I was making is that everyone on Team 1, even though that they are new playing together, they're not new. And they're all very, very good players. And we're seeing that up against what is meant to be one of, if not the best team in the region.
Let's see how FaZe respond now. We're seeing both these teams really struggling to find any sort of solidity in these rounds, and they're not really able to chain them together too well. Been quite a back and forth game so far, and we're really looking for one team to lead from the front and to continue to get these rounds together. The first kill this time going to go over toward Team 1 as Levy shuts down Astro. It's a bit of a hefty blow this early on. I say this early, we've already seen 1 minute and 10, but Astro, I imagine, has still got all 3 Selmas in his dead pocket. And we've not seen any use of that utility so far. Levy getting pressured. He isn't playing behind the deployable shield. He's actually playing in front of it. Maybe a little bit of an off angle, just looking to try and catch somebody out. And FaZe waiting for the intel. They've got the yellow pings. Bullet keen to try and push on through. Gets rid of the shield, but still nobody playing onto it. A C4 from Netskin is going to secure and enhance the advantage that Team 1 currently see.
Ooh, nearly getting caught in a crossfire there is Levy. He still has some life in him, but he knows that the risks around him are getting more and more pressing. Wondering if that was the Kaid claw. Oh no, it was not. It was not removed. I was wondering if that was being done, but Bullet now just outside the office door gets very brutally taken down by Lagonis. And Team 1 look like they're way more keen to successfully defend this than they were back in round 2. Another kill for Lagonis onto Cameraman, and it's just Cyber remaining. Doesn't have any nades, and he can't even make it in through the window. Alamount takes him down, and Team 1 take the lead.
Flawless round coming out for Team 1 there, and I guess that's a lesson in what happens when you lose not only your hard breach first, but it also drops the diffuser in a pretty impossible situation to recover it from. And that's exactly what happened to FaZe in that round. They lost Astro, they lost control of that diffuser, and Team 1 had a really good sort of change of pace in terms of what they were then trying to defend onto. Instead of looking to, you know, defend onto the site, they knew, right, we can just watch this diffuser. And they did a fantastic job of that. Levy, in particular, did a lot of work at confirming that, yes, the diffuser is still in that position, just shooting out a couple of bits of the barricade every now and then. And it all culminated in a flawless round for them. Now, it's the last round for Team 1 on the defense. We have to see if they can level... Oh, sorry, FaZe Clan can level this one up at 3 apiece, or if we are going to see defender-sided Chalet tonight.
FaZe have actually reverted back to the operator lineup that they played the time that they lost the attack onto this site. So the Amaru is done, and I suspect a lot of that is because once you do Amaru once, there's only so many things you can do with her, and it becomes a bit easier to read because she's the kind of operator that you bring when you want to surprise the defending team. She's not the type of operator you bring consistently round by round. She's just not. And you know, Sledge still holds those nades, which I think they're going to find a lot of use out of, and that was something that you kind of reluctantly relinquish when you decide to bring one of those surprise or arguably cheese operators, right? Oh, that was absolutely disgusting from Alamount, just bringing Cyber down immediately with a headshot, and he can just sit nicely on the stairs there. Just brutal. And now those nades that I was talking about that could have provided a lot of use are not going to be available for FaZe Clan. They will just have to resort to relying on the 2 in pocket for souls.
FaZe really struggling in the opening kill department here tonight. It's second round in a row that they have lost that opening engagement, and it has gone unresponded. Souls there getting caught out by an alibi. He makes his way up onto the roof to take a little bit of stock and no doubt jump into a drone. Seeing FaZe pushing in solo once again. It's Astro this time is going to be the lone player. And just to get the wall open with the Selma device, but really looks as though FaZe are struggling for intel, which is quite interesting because they do have 9 drones available to them. There should be enough flank drones out there and enough people to jump on in and figure out the next parts of the plan. Cyber dead, of course, and watch little pre-plays like that just set up by Cameraman. FaZe are really struggling to gain any significant map control here.
I was going to say, I wonder how much the goo mines are going to have an effect, and right as I was thinking it, I heard a goo mine go off in the distance, because obviously they brought a frost map before, and again, that's one of those operators you can't bring multiple times without kind of giving away what you're doing, but Legion is a bit more of a standard operator who does a similar kind of job, sort of that trap meta type thing, where you're going to slow down and inhibit a lot of the movement and freedom of the attacking team. So I want to see how much that's going to do. Now, they've just found a player at the top of the main stairs. I don't know if they're going to attack onto him straight away. Yep. 2 kills in for FaZe Clan. This gives them so much more room now that they've brought down those members of Team 1, and this is the in they needed. So much smoke just filling the room, but they want to go in for the plant. Toxic Babe canisters haven't quite reached, and Souls is going to add another kill. Add another one onto that as well. Lagonis going down, KDS to be the last one, and FaZe Clan finally fight through, and they make this 3-3 at the half.
Scrappy stuff indeed from FaZe there. It looked as though that was a bit of a last-ditch attempt to be like, look, we've got to try and get something down here. The smoke, it wasn't ideal. It needed to be a lot deeper, and I think that whoever the player was that was right next to Astro as he had the diffuser in hand, just the other side of the bomb chassis, is likely to be kicking themselves later on when everyone realizes just how close they all were in that cloud of smoke. Tight stuff indeed, but FaZe have managed to level it back at 3 apiece and go into this round at an even footing. Now, of course, we get to see why FaZe brought us here, potentially, because, of course, don't forget, they were the ones to choose the final map. They banned out Clubhouse and locked in Chalet, so you would expect teams to have good ideas on both attack and defense, but moreover, the defense. That's usually where you try and bring a team, because you can control a lot of the variables when you are on the defender side. Now, I'm expecting to see that here from FaZe. Already, I'm seeing a mirror. I'm liking it, Gio.
Yeah, we did speak about this at the start, about the fact that Mira wasn't banned out, and that's, you know, it was a curious one, because she is so powerful, not just on this map, but most maps, I think it's fair to say. Instead, the Goyo was the one who got banned out at the point at which we expected Mira to be. Cameraman should be pretty effective, I think, on the mirror, but I suppose we'll have to wait to find out ourselves. On the other side of things, Team 1 have brought a different attacking lineup to what FaZe Clan were doing, and notably on there is the Lion. So it's almost in place of where FaZe decided to bring Jackal for that kind of extra information on location and flank watch, I suppose. Team 1 have decided the Lion is the way they want to go. They're going to rely on the E1Ds, and I'd imagine he's carrying some of those flashes as well.
The Lion always speaks to like a quick fire roam clear, because you've not got a great deal of time to make use of that scan, and if the defender feels as though they're in a safe location, then they're not really going to be too bothered about moving whilst that E1D is live. So Lion does usually smack of like quite the quick fire roam clear. I'm just wondering how much of that Team 1 are going to be able to achieve here when they've got, you know, the kind of operators that they're going up against. One Malusi Banshee, for example, would be quite detrimental to that, and it looks as though, speaking of Malusi, Bullet is going to be holding fast at the top of these library stairs, not looking to give all too much away. He's got Astro playing the same staircase below him, so FaZe really investing a lot of value at the moment in that library staircase. Mirror windows there to assist as well with a hatch reinforced. Now the Lion scan comes out, but what is being achieved off the back of it? Very short timer, and as you can see, we only saw a couple of the players from Team 1 sort of shuffle around, and no one from FaZe really too concerned. They are in strong positions, and it's going to take more than that to root them out.
I really like this double mirror setup so that you can control the library as well as the, you know, the K9 balcony kind of area and into fireplace too. It means players can play on either side of that wall and have great intel as to what's going on. And if Team 1 are looking to do a complete top floor clear, they will have to pass through that area to do so. And that will mean inevitably having to fight at least one of them. And we're seeing that exactly now. Cyber getting the first kill, but Bullet's going to be the next casualty on the list. That puts it in a 4 versus 4, but Team 1 know exactly what is left for them to clear.
We're asking FaZe to show us something fairly special here on defense, and I think they have delivered. This strategy in terms of holding library is working out quite well for them, but as I say that, they lose 2, no 3 crucial gunfights. But all is not lost. We do still have Souls, and he has a chance. 20 seconds remain. The plant does start to get confirmed, and he gets himself into his first engagement. I think he finds the down, but it isn't going to be enough. I did speak too soon as Neskin confirms the final kill, and Team 1 start off their attacks fairly strong.
I just want to talk about the fact that Neskin had a sliver of health when he achieved that. There was a really great 3K coming in from him that just allowed Team 1 to push in. And one thing that we do have to stand corrected on is the mirror was not a round winner. It was a great setup, and I think it had a lot of potential, a lot of power. But the thing is once Team One lost their first player to that setup, immediately they knew what was going on. And straight away, there was a kill back onto FaZe Clan. It was Cyber who went down on FaZe Clan as soon as that kill was made. So the man count was evened out, and those players from FaZe Clan had to scramble to deal with this push that was coming in from the master side as well. So even though it didn't quite go how they wanted, and evidently they couldn't have foreseen the fact that Nestin was going to get a 3K, it was an interesting way for that to run, because you kind of have this assumption that Mirror is just, she's so powerful, it's why she always gets banned and she can win rounds, and in this case, she simply didn't. And she's not going to be brought for this upstairs hold either.
The Mirror died in that last round because they got caught in the middle of the corridor at the top of library stairs. Now, that's just an unfortunate circumstance. I rate that Mirror strategy for holding library. I think that just the circumstance dictated otherwise. I think it's probably a good plan from FaZe Clan. I'd like to see it in a couple more iterations and different circumstances, but in that particular round, I think Team One did really well at rooting the players out and forcing them to move from those locations. As you say, not seeing the Mirror brought this time. Instead, leaning into much more old faithfuls, as it were. Maybe the first time we're seeing a castle pick tonight. We have seen a lot of Aruni played in other games, and that's someone that I was expecting to see a bit here tonight on Chalet, if I'm being honest with you, but we are yet to see it brought.
I do like the fact that they brought the castle, because I enjoy the control that it gives you. And yeah, Aruni has become significantly more popular, I think, because obviously she wastes a lot of the projectiles generally to be able to pass through. Great kill from cameraman onto Levy. That's the lion that's been removed. But just like last time, we see an immediate kill in return from Team One. And that's your Kaid, who's been gone, and that's a valuable anchor who isn't going to be playing there. And the fact that Astro is playing off-site and he's off elsewhere, it's risky, because if your smoke gets killed in an altercation outside of the site, you don't have that plant denial. And then, there you go! He got killed in an altercation off the site, you don't have the plant denial!
Cameraman doing his best to try and keep control of the site, however, and Cyber joining him in that endeavor, taking down KDS. Kills are continuing to come for Team One as Alamo, he gets it one as a late trade. It leaves Bullet and Cyber in a pretty tough situation here, but Bullet is up to the task. Finds the kill over onto Lagonis and leaves Alamo all alone. The diffuser will be recovered, and I'm surprised that Bullet hadn't continued to watch it, but instead he's choosing to play this one much safer because there is a lot of time on the clock. A minute remains, and Alamo has a lot of tools at his disposal. Maybe he doesn't have any drones. Sorry, he does have a couple of drones. He has 3 drones, I think, to try and work from. So there's a chance that there's something out there that can be of use. He's got full health and the diffuser. Just a quick wiggle over into sight, seeing if he can bait out any pre-fire shots and get a bit of a firmer idea of what it is he is dealing with. But the crossfire being held from Cyber ensures that final kill goes through without a hitch. And FaZe pick up their first round here on defense.
So far, this entire game has been alternating round wins. We have not had a single 2 rounds in a row taken by either of these teams. My notes just say, or how long it goes on for. It's just OF. It's just, it doesn't seem like either of these 2 teams can gain a momentum with which they can run away. There's always something that the other one can take back. And I think what that says to me is these are very evenly matched teams. And that's incredibly exciting, because the way I see it is it kind of challenges the standard that we've come to expect from this region. It is a region where you kind of look at it and you say, well, I know who's going to be the top teams. But it feels like the winds of change a little bit. And I know you can argue FaZe Clan, their roster was the top team, quote unquote, but Team One, this roster wasn't necessarily, and we're seeing this more even skill level. And sure, it's on a map that the teams are still getting used to, but I think it's something positive. I think it's something exciting.
I'm getting a bit ahead of the program here, Gio, but if this is how this game's going down, with the result that Team 1 had versus Black Dragons last week and Black Dragons winning that game, I'm really excited for Black Dragons and FaZe tomorrow. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. I know I am, but I've just got to say it at that point.
No, I'm stoked.
It's going to be sick.
And this is the thing, is like there's an ace multiplier on excitement, so however excited we are, you know that ace is like 10 times as much.
10x, 10 ace.
Yep.
It's as easy as that. Let's have a look and see if FaZe can make it 2 in a row then, because so far both these teams have struggled to do just exactly that. Cyber, Valerium Stairs, looking to keep control of not only a hopping down inside a trophy, but also try and challenge onto that window and any sort of drones that look to come on through. It's a very tough place to play. He's going to miss out on that drone, which is not going to be devastating, but certainly one that he would have liked to have. Lion E1D, not enough to make him stop in his tracks. Instead says, you know what, I'm going to run through that one and risk it for a biscuit, because I know that there's a chance I'm already being pushed.
Yeah, they knew exactly where he was, so the risk of them coming down the stairs was too much for him to worry about it. Still some nice positioning here from Astro, particularly. He has both the Prisma and the shield to kind of protect him somewhat. And Cyber's made a full rotation down into the basement. He'll be looking to make a rotate back up through the stairs. Nice flank drone being placed by Lagonis, potentially. If it doesn't get shot, it does. All right.
Last time we saw this site defended, there was a lot of pressure and attention paid to the library stairs, and in library in particular. And we did actually see mirror brought, but in this instance, the mirror hasn't been brought. Instead, we have got the Aruni, which is something we've asked for. We've said, you know, Aruni would be quite nice here. Similar positions are being held. And it's all about Team 1 working out and figuring how they want to try and do that. FaZe already showing a bit of depth to the strat book here on Chalet. Eskin looking to toss out some nades, and it's going to deal a smidgen of damage over onto Cyber, but really enough to write home about.
And they know that they need to clean out that staircase as well, because it's such a power position for controlling this site. Alamal getting a kill onto Bullet though, so not necessarily who he was looking or who they were looking for in terms of the staircases, but it's always nice to have. Point I was making though is that they haven't been able to clear the stairs fully. At this top end they have, it looks like, but KDS is going to be tentative in his shots that he tries to take through into the site. We've seen players get caught out here as angles have been held. Oh, a 1 versus 1 that probably took Levy by surprise, as he wasn't expecting to see anyone down there as a late reaction, and KDS getting a kill as well. So now FaZe Clan are looking weaker. There are minimal drones, however, available for Team 1, so a lot of this is coming to come down to face checking, and such little time. Neskin on a tear again as well with the SMG-11. They're gonna go in for the plant because they have no choice, and Team 1 finally cleaning it up with the kills they need, and they take the round.
Probably closer than Team 1 would have liked there, as those final 2 are masterfully shown off in the replay. Even cameraman acknowledging that with a nice shot. Bit of a tough pill to swallow, I think, there for FaZe, as that seemingly was a round for them to lose, and they did, in fact, lose it. Team 1 did a good job of trying to get the kills and push on in, but ultimately FaZe just couldn't hang on for long enough, and once again we see this game go ebb and fro? To an ebb?
Ebb and flow.
Ebb and flow. I'm tired, you know.
Are you serious?
My brain's fried.
What is to an ebb?
To an ebb and flow.
What is that?
I don't know.
You were conflating to and fro with ebb and flow.
Yeah, I think so. There was a little hybrid going on in there, but the point remains is that these two teams cannot seem to chain 2 rounds together, and that's going to start getting a little bit dangerous when we enter the next couple, because if FaZe are able to get the round here, that takes us to 5-all, then it's Team 1's turn to get themselves on match point, and all of a sudden we could see an overtime for the first time tonight. It's been threatened a few times.
First time seeing Chalet, first time seeing overtime. Get just 2 birds with 1 stone. Be pretty nice. This is also, I think, the first time we've seen this site be played as well, and I would say it's probably about time that one of these teams had to do something different, because they need to break out of this constant cycle of win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. So they're down in the kitchen. as well to try and change things up. Again, that means there has to be a lot of prep on the top floor too, so that the attackers can't simply take control of, for example, office, for example, master, and have the vertical power over the site itself. So it's just kind of a given at this point that you're going to be seeing these multi-story plays, multi-story defenses, multi-story attacks. But who is going to take this one? Because we haven't actually seen this yet.
Gonis gathering a bit of intel there on the drone, just seeing if there's anything he can glean. It's as though we're going to see players trying to enter on this K9 balcony. Of course, no Thatcher in play, but KDS fearlessly jumping all the way on in. And to try and remove a bit of utility as he goes. Of course, the Ash does have that capability and could even go underneath to try and get that job done. But of course, underneath is being held as well. So FaZe really providing quite the brick wall there for Team 1 to bang their heads against. They're not really looking too interested on peeking onto anything. And cameraman there just getting a bit of intel that the Electric Claw is still in place. Because the job really is for Team 1 to figure out how they are going to try and deal with that and how they're going to take any sort of significant control, because with the Mute Jammers and the Electric Claws, everything's pretty sewn up pretty tight from a FaZe Clan perspective.
Not to mention you've also still got the castle barricades lying around as well. So in terms of, hey, routes into the site, they're pretty airtight. For now, anyway. You obviously have utility that you can use to get rid of those. Just looking out to see if there's anyone down below. We've seen a lot of basement rooms and basement flanks as well. And as you can see, the office wall has already been breached too. Gonis just getting ready to potentially make a second breach. He knows that there's a player just around the corner, though. One of these two may get peeked. But so far, remaining safe. Souls is behind the bomb chassis. Ooh, nearly gets a kill, but it's KDS who actually got the first one. That was onto Astro. Souls just looking for these players who may be out in the corridor. He knows they're there. He just hasn't finally been able to land one.
Getting down to the sharp end of things now, as there's only 10 seconds and Lagonis is going to attempt the plant. He is being covered beautifully by Souls, though. The Souls picks off just about everyone in the building. Is he going to go for the ace? No, Bullet joins the fray as well. I don't think that Team 1 had accounted for that at all. The vertical pressure coming on in, as well as that lateral pressure, was just a little bit too much.
There was a lot, and we are still in this cycle, no closer to match point. One of them has to take match point in this next round. And if the pattern continues, then it's going to be Team 1. But whether that actually happens... Oh, and we've lost Lagonis. So may have to wait for him to come back. But... they look like they're going to be going down into the basement, into Wine and Snowmobile. Now, the only time that this site has actually been visited so far in this game was on the first half. So this was back when Team 1 were defending, and they did successfully manage that. Now, FaZe Clan haven't come here on their defense, and I'm wondering if that's because it's very uncomfortable for them. You would assume so, given that we've now seen 3 different sites on their defense, not one of them being the basement. I'm wondering how that translates to Team 1's comfort with actually being able to attack onto it.
It's going to be a difficult one, honestly. I think both these teams are really struggling to find any sort of form or any sort of consistency here. And that was kind of to be expected with a new map. You know, it really isn't going all in one direction or the other. I think we're ready to jump back in. It seems as though the pause feature has come in incredibly clutch there once again, as already we are back into the action. Downstairs into the garage for what could be quite an important round. FaZe Clan and Team 1 back and forth they go. But one of these teams is going to hit that match point, and I just want to see if that gives them the momentum to take it all the way from that point.
I do worry about FaZe Clan going down to this site when they haven't shown any suggestion that it's a site that they like or have a real strong confidence on it. Now, I'm willing to be proven wrong. I mean, I don't think it really matters if I'm willing to be, because the opportunity and the chances are there regardless. But I do have a feeling that this will swing more in Team 1's way. They don't have a ton as far as breach denial goes either. They've brought the mute jammer, so that can be used against all of the walls. I'm wondering how the hatches are going to fare.
When we saw FaZe attacking this site, we did see them really struggle to make any sort of use of garage breach, or should we call it snowmobile breach, as you said. And I believe that if FaZe are able to just keep themselves alive in this early part of the round and not give anything away too lightly, could see some success here. This looks like a real risky engagement to be getting embroiled in there, especially from cameraman's perspective, as Alamau is really looking to push out there on the rappel. He had Levy with the E1D as well to cover him. Reinforcements now being used in sight. We are seeing Bullet to try and make a challenge of some description over onto that K9 window. FaZe really are playing this quite all up in Team 1's face.
Astros is ready in case anyone is to drop down the hatch, and we of course know that there is a player just above it. Cameraman persisting upstairs too. Up in the top right corner. Bullet's going to take some damage as there's a player out there on the balcony just waiting to jump in, and KDS is going to bring Cameraman down. There's the first kill. Bullet as well. So 2 kills in very quick succession for Team 1. That should give them a great opening, because it means the opportunity for there to be players defending the site itself is significantly diminished. They don't get to rotate back. So everyone remaining has to be on site. That immediately gives the 2 floors above the site free to Team 1. They can drone everything they want. They can start opening whatever they want up. FaZe Clan are significantly weakened.
The only thing that FaZe Clan have got going for them is the time is, of course, always ticking. But they do need a little bit of a miracle here and at least some kills if they're going to have any chance of trying to complete on this round. Souls is playing quite aggressively there on the stairs, as is Astro. He's also being challenged and his location known. Goes for the C4 toss and not going to hit anyone. Unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for FaZe, was one of the key pieces of utility that they had left remaining. Alamau is going to be looking to try and find an angle, but instead finds a little bit of Toxic Babe canister. It's not going to be enough to damage him from, as we see another E1D come on in. 15 seconds left, so not the world of time for Team 1, and 1 kill is going to go in the direction of them, and the second, in fact, as a flawless round will ensue, and Team 1 find themselves on match point.
Great performance there from Team 1, just getting so much control over FaZe Clan. And I think once they brought down those 2 players upstairs, they had such a lifeline. Now we head into nearly overtime. And I say nearly overtime because if FaZe Clan follow the pattern, they take this next round, then we'll be heading into overtime. But Team 1 have the perfect opportunity here to clutch this for themselves. And if that does happen, that'll be the first loss that FaZe Clan have faced in Stage 1 of BR6 here in 2021. And that would really set a precedent and just some great storylines going forward. But don't want to be too preemptive, don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. So we'll just wait until what happens happens. They're going to be going back to Master and Office. And this is, if we have a look at FaZe Clan's defensive track record on Master, they came here in round 8 and they won it. So you have that going for you at the very least. Team 1 brings something a little bit different here. They have the IQ, and I'm wondering if they're going to use the IQ to spot out the electric floor to try and open up the office breach.
FaZe are really keeping to the script here, aren't they, Gio? They're going 1 for 1, and they've gone to a site that they have won before, so by all intents and purposes, this should take us to 6-6, and then we go to OT, and everyone's had a good day.
Well, other than whoever loses, eventually.
I mean, they've still had a good day. You still get a point for losing in overtime.
That is true. So there is that chance, but If FaZe Clan do continue to stick to the script, then they will be winning this next round. But because Team 1 have changed up slightly on how they're approaching the attack, that's what interests me. Because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the same defensive lineup that FaZe Clan brought last time. So I'm not sure they've made any adaptations.
E1D once again on a Z-ping bit of information, but for Alamo, it is not meant to be. Doesn't find the kill. Instead, the first kill goes over to Astro. Continuing on the script, as FaZe are due to win this round, they get the opening kill. This is all lining up beautifully. As Team 1 are left to scramble and to get back in the drones and to figure out what went wrong with droning their Ashen entry in, as he is now dead in the dirt. Lamau looking to push up these library stairs with the addition of the E1D. Could have some intel on him, but a head glitch on the sofa. How many times have we seen that head glitch on the sofa working out for whoever's playing it? This time, the whoever is cameraman. The kills continue to flood for FaZe. And what are Team 1 doing? They're just going one by one into the site through single doorways and gifting cameraman with this opportunity. He's now on a triple. He's on Castle. He's got the worst gun in the game, and he's still getting all these kills.
It's all on Lagonis, and he is being compared to the Bolo of LATAM. He got signed 3 days after his 18th birthday. Very popular streamer and a very skilled player. So if anyone's going to be able to ace clutch it, it's going to be him, but the chances are not in his favor. A beautiful, flawless round there for FaZe, and they send this game into overtime.
Here we are in our first overtime of the night, and certainly our first overtime of the season here on the English-speaking stream. It is going to be Team 1 that get the defense first. I mean, let's be honest, not that that really matters all too much. We've seen this game be back and forth so much throughout the course of it so far that we're almost certainly going to see a full 8-7 here.
Well, it's Team 1's opportunity to go to kitchen now, which they haven't. So again, we might be seeing some new stuff, some spicy new things. Just looking at some of the replays from that last round, Team 1 really handed that round over to FaZe Clan. It wasn't the most successful attempt, nor was it the most coordinated, and I had some hope that the adaptations they were trying to make would maybe bring them some success. I was wrong, but there's still a chance for them here in overtime or prorrogação. I'm not very good at Portuguese.
Kitchen is going to be the site, I believe, is not somewhere that we've seen all too common or all too often. I think, have we only seen Kitchen once, Gio?
Yes,
I believe
it was on round 10.
Yeah, round number 10, FaZe win. This time they're going to be attacking it. See what they have in store for us. Cyber not looking to aggress all too much. I think the FaZe players have maybe recognized just how much is on the line here for this round, and it seems as though they're going to try and sharpen themselves up on attack a little bit.
Well, it's getting droned in, providing intel for him. Claymore goes down. That's going to be pretty useful in stopping a potential flank. Especially as we've actually seen the basement be used quite a significant amount for the defenders in this game so far. Seeing a lot of late flanks, a lot of roams that are very present in that area of the map. Already a breach has been made, you can see, and already a death has been done. That's Neskin who's going to be the perpetrator, although he takes a ton of damage as he tries to retreat. The window beside him in Trophy being blown open as well means he's going to have to go back to the site and just hide behind the kitchen counter for now. He knows that the drone is coming. He knows that a player could jump in. But at the very least, he knows that his team has the advantage for now.
Bullet really struggling to show up in a big way on the Ash on attack. Once again, costing FaZe. This is an important round for them. The first round of OT, always one that you want to try and come away with. Cameraman had a cracking previous round, but it looks as though he's going to end up hopping on in. Astro again has fallen as Souls is trying to find a little bit of joy on the reverse, but Cameraman continuing his form as he finds one. He'll still flying in for Team 1 though, but Cameraman can do no wrong, and he really catapults his team in with an opportunity here, taking good control of sight in the Jackal. We can see if he can find any footprints as he goes. Souls meanwhile has recovered the diffuser, and maybe, just maybe, could be given the opportunity to try and get something down, but Cameraman really trying to bait something out here, hopping in and out of the window, looking to try and get one of these defenders to push on in. Vertical angles being held as well as horizontal, but Souls looks like he's going to try and stick it. Could he get away with this? I think everyone's distracted with Cameraman's whereabouts. Cameraman has fallen, and now it all lies in the hands of Souls, but not for long. Lagonas comes in, a kill comes out before, but it is impactless, and Team 1 successfully are able to defuse that diffuser.
Wow, Team 1 did look like the stronger team for a lot of that round as well, especially with Neskin getting those really impactful kills too. FaZe Clan kind of responding to all of the decisions that they were making. But now FaZe Clan find themselves on the defense. They get to decide which site that they will be going to. If I had to guess, I would say Master, just because that's the site that they did best on their defensive rounds. They got 2 defensive wins on it in round 8 and round 12, but they also will be going to Kitchen, it looks like. Okay, interesting decision.
It's the site that they won when they were on defense, to be fair. I think
they did. From
memory it was the brick wall site where they essentially just created a brick wall of problems for Team 1 to solve in their cades and their mute jammer placements and their castle barricades, and I would imagine that they're going to look to try and do the same again here. That being said, we still haven't seen one team win 2 successful rounds in a row. So, for all intents and purposes, I don't want to say it, but it looks like it could be Team 1's game if that continues to go on.
If the script is followed, because so far we have had Team 1 FaZe, 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 Team 1. That is the pattern so far. It should be FaZe if the script is to be followed. And I am waiting. I've been desperately waiting for one of these teams to break out of it because I want to know who it is and why. Because that's kind of the moment in like the Disney movie. It's like in Hercules where he realizes who he is and he does that song that everyone loves. And that's what it is when the team breaks out of the cycle. And you're like, yes, you're in the next phase of who you are and what you are going to be and what you can achieve. And it hasn't happened yet.
It must be a very frustrating game to play in as well, where you're just not able to find any sort of form between one round and the next. Because it's not just been down to the sites that the reasons for the reasoning that the rounds have gone so back and forward. It's genuinely been down to, like, sometimes players just haven't been able to buy a kill for love nor money inside of that round, and then other rounds we see them going absolutely crazy. So it must be frustrating from a player point of view as well.
Well, a couple of drones being lost for T1, but they still have plenty out on the field. I really want to be watching KDS as well, because back in round number 12, he was taken down very early. And being the Ashe player, wanting to have that entry, that's incredibly detrimental, especially because of the utility she brings. Finally, being able to remove the Kaid Claw, that should give Team 1 the opportunity to actually breach onto the site, which is something that I was wondering if, well, not onto the site, sorry, onto office. I believe the site is down in kitchen, so they want to have that vertical control. It's something I was wondering if that was going to be done back in round number 12, but obviously we all remember what happened in round number 12. It was a disaster.
Neskin just looking to gather a bit of intel on the drone and navigate the myriad of utility that the defenders have available before popping that castle barricade and just giving himself another line of attack. The push coming in at the moment from Team 1 is very good indeed. As I say that though, KDS, the poor old guy, is going to die out there on the rappel as Bullet finds himself a headshot. Cyber looks to get pressured as well on piano window, and does manage to rotate and put some pre-fire shots and just deter these attackers from pushing in any further. But FaZe are losing ground fast upstairs, and it's going to get a little bit quicker as soon as the E1D comes in. That's going to produce a kill for Team 1 as well, as Bullet does get himself caught. And look at Cyber. He's getting pinched from both directions. He's got a bit of intel, and he really wants to try and take somebody with him here, but it is a matter of time. Can he swing? He does. He swings, finds one, finds a down at least, as Cameraman comes in with a huge C4. Cyber now given time to move and readjust, but instead will go into the waiting crosshairs and find himself equally downed for the count.
And now you have Levy. He's going to be picked up, but it is still a man disadvantage. Cyber, as you say, DBNO right now. But there's such minimal time. We're in the final 10 seconds. Here comes the last EOD. Maybe that'll be able to provide something for them, but Team 1 just have to jump straight over and hope that they can survive the gunfights as they move on into sight. They can't even get there in time. And FaZe Clan, right on script, take the next round and send us into maximum OT.
8-7 incoming for one of these teams. If FaZe Clan want it to be them, they have to win 2 rounds in a row, something they've not been able to do so far yet this evening. It looks at the moment as though Bar could be our location. Team 1, let me have a quick scroll through and see how they have done inside of Bar. So
they
far,
went there 3 times.
It's looking quite good, honestly.
Well,
played it 4, won it 3.
On defense, they played it 3 times.
It's a scary prospect. I think regardless of where
they lost it twice. They went there on round 1, round 4, and round 6, but they only won round 1.
Yeah, we had round 4 was the rush plant, wasn't it? Oh, sorry, it was a push and a plant from FaZe. FaZe really forced a plant down in that round, I think.
Yeah.
And then in round 6, it was the smoke plant, which, for all intents and purposes, was quite scrappy from FaZe's side. So, I guess it is quite a bold statement, really, for Team 1 to go here, but there's obviously something that they feel as though they can do differently. Maybe there would have been a better site for them to go to that had a slightly better record, but it matters not at this point. We are here in the round.
What's actually really interesting is all 3 attacking rounds that FaZe won, they successfully planted it. And then they made a successful plant back in round 13, but it got disabled by Team 1. So they have clearly a really high correlation between planting and winning out the rounds. They don't just rely on getting the kills, they actually rely on the objective play as well. So that's something to really look out for here, and especially if someone like Astro gets caught out as the diffuser carrier and the hard breach, that's going to make it way harder for them. And that could actually be, I'd have to go back and look to see where the kills came, but that could end up being part of the reason for the rounds that they lost on their attack. And we'll have to see this round if that pattern does continue.
Cyber trying quite an ambitious engagement there over toward Library side and gets himself out onto the balcony to provide an alternate line of attack. Half the round already disappeared through the FaZe players' fingertips, as they have got a little bit of control, particularly of this northern side. You can see the red silhouettes on your screen. There's still a heavy presence upstairs inside of Library.
Cyber knows that. You can tell. Just trying to hold on the angle through the Swiss cheese wall. There's a player at the top of Library stairs as well. You can hear the ADSs being burned out as Lagonis gets the first kill onto Souls. Now, I don't know if he used those nades or if that's what was used to kind of burn out the ADSs. The shield and the Prisma are still standing, and now Cyber's location is known. A lot of these players of FaZe Clan are quite separate, and he can't quite open up or rotate into the office wall. Throwing in the flashes again to try and finish burning out the ADSs, but still very slow as it stands. FaZe gets a headshot onto Neskin, so we're at a 4 versus 4, but time is running out. This is something that has come to punish these teams so far in this game. So close cameraman is to a potential enemy, and he brings him down. Now FaZe are looking ahead because it's a 4 versus 2 with just KDS and Alamau remaining. Make that just Alamau. Is he going to be able to 1 versus 4 clutch? The answer might be no. Astro's going in for the plant, and Alamau can't save the round. FaZe Clan were the favorite for this game. It took them a while to do it, but they finally won.
FaZe finally managed to buck the trend there and to pick up 2 rounds in a row, something that neither team managed to do throughout the entirety of regulation. It took all the way up until overtime for FaZe to be able to do that, as they did an exceptional job picking up the defense and then managing to pick up the attack. Cameraman